In the year of 2024 alone, there has been a drastic erasure of black girls in the media. Hollywood, where are all the black girls? Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I'm Miss Ordinary and this is Ordinary Girls, the place for all things fashion and film. Now, if I were to ask you to name 10 black girls, specifically monoracial black girls that have been casted in a film or TV show in the past 10 months, you would be dead silent. There has been a huge decline of black girls in the media. Whether it's in a film, TV, or just pop culture in general, it seems like there's no space for black girls anymore. Now, a naive idiot would probably think that it's because black women aren't working as hard to get roles like other people. But what if I were to tell you that it's actually the exact opposite? What if I told you that black women are fighting for a spot at the table harder than ever? What if I told you the truth about Hollywood and how they are actually the root of the problem? And that is why this video is here today. For their entire existence, black women have been fighting just to be seen, to be heard in a world that tries to silence their voice, to paint them in a villainous image, erasing them and their right for representation in Hollywood. Today, we uncover the truth and ask Hollywood to their face, where are all the black girls? There was a time period where black women were making waves in the Hollywood scene. Once upon a time, black women were seen more than ever. This was during the 90s and early 2000s, where there seemed to be a rise of black women in Hollywood. That's So Raven, Babs, Living Single, Moesha, Akilah and the Bee are just a few out of the handful of movies and TV shows that were being made featuring black women. When projects featuring black women are made, more stars are born. For example, Brandy, who is now a household name. She gained fame from appearing in her own TV show, Moesha, then later on starring as Cinderella in the television film that was executively produced by Whitney Houston, also becoming an iconic piece of film history. She became a loved icon and role model because studio executives took a chance on her and gave her a platform. Queen Latifah, Angela Bassett, Raven-Symoné, Viola Davis, Halle Berry are all household names. Why? Because they started in an era where black women of Hollywood were allowed to thrive on the big screen. Compare that to today, where black women can't even be casted, let alone appear in movies or TV. I personally like to call this déjà erasure, which stems from the word déjà vu, the feeling of having experienced a present situation, because whether people like it or not, the erasure of black women keeps on happening. Whenever a project featuring black women is in the works, it's either scrapped or stuck in development hell. Literally, a couple of weeks ago, the Princess Tiana show that Disney was working on got scrapped. Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur, a Marvel project, got cancelled. But the most heartbreaking example of this would have to be Saturdays. This was a show on Disney Plus that was produced by Marseille Martin. Danielle Jade, Daria Jones, and Ari Stevens were the three young black leads, something that Disney hasn't had in a long time. The show was about roller skating, where the three girls known as the Weeby Girls were a skate crew who were devoted to prove that they had the hottest skate routines in town. To no one's surprise, the show got cancelled after one season. But what's worse is that Disney completely removed it from Disney Plus, once again erasing the black girl. Marseille talked about this on Kiki Palmer's podcast, where they also talked about the constant erasure of black women in Hollywood. Seeing her get emotional about the difficulties black women have in this industry really hurts me. Nowadays, black women rarely appear in the media anymore. To put this into perspective, here's a casting announcement thread by Kay, a girl I follow on Twitter. The common denominator? The absence of black girls in each cast. Comparing the two time periods of black women in the media is really haunting. We were supposed to become better as the years went by, but somehow the 90s and early 2000s still seem to be the best time period for black women media, specifically monoracial black women, which brings me to my next point. We can see this with the new Descendants 5 cast, who got rid of the old cast and casted people who literally embody the paper bag movement. Storm, who is one of the most popular superheroines in comics, is a dark-skinned woman. And we all know that dark-skinned women aren't allowed to shine, even in the comic book world. So her being loved and popular really means something to a lot of black girls who look up to her. So when the time came to cast her in live action, can you guess who got casted? Halle Berry. Light-skinned actress Halle Berry played dark-skinned superhero Storm. And there are more examples of times where black women with lighter complexions are casted in roles specifically made for dark-skinned women. I can't move on from this point without talking about the little miss ringleader of this movement herself, Amandla Stenberg. Now, Amandla is notorious for stealing roles from dark-skinned women. She started this all the way back in 2012 for the Hunger Games movie. In that movie, she played the character Rue, who was a 12-year-old little girl from District 11, forced to compete and ultimately die in the Hunger Games against her will. For those of you who don't know, the Hunger Games is a book adaptation, and in the books, Rue is described to have bright, dark eyes and satiny brown skin. Which, okay, I guess it fits the casting here, but people have complained, stating that Rue is actually darker skin. Most people would gloss over this, using arguments such as, "Oh, Amanda was too young to make any of these decisions by herself. Blame the studios, not her." Okay, but what about the hate you give? Where hands touch. A small scene in Spider-Verse, and worst of all, Children of the Blood and Bone. Now, I've never read the book, but from what I've gathered, the character she's playing is Princess Amari. In the book, she has to deal with constant colorist remarks from her own mother, often using terms such as elegant and regal whenever her daughter appears lighter than usual. Yes, light-skinned Amandla Stenberg is gonna be receiving coloristic insults from her own light-skinned mother. What a big joke. Not to mention, these characters are from Nigeria and are all fully black. Amandla is biracial. Hollywood needs to stop this constant pattern where they cast biracial women to play monoracial black girl roles. Another pattern that this shitload of an adaptation continues is that when Hollywood would cast a black family, the brother would be dark-skinned and the sister would automatically be light-skinned. We see this in so many projects, such as Casey Undercover, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and now again with Amandla and Damson Idris, who plays her brother in the film. Mind you, this is how the entire family looks like. This makes no sense. It would have been so cool to see actual Nigerian actors, dark-skinned women, portray these roles. Oftentimes, black women aren't in fantasy films like Harry Potter because it's deemed quote-unquote unrealistic. So to have a film where dark-skinned black women are the leads would have been amazing. But this is Hollywood, the place where we can't have nice things. Now, there's this more erasure of monoracial dark-skinned women in media. Side note, Amanda's actually so annoying for this. This girl even made TikTok videos defending her casting when people were rightfully complaining. I mean, just look at this girl posing here. "Oh, look at me. I look just like her." What she needs to be doing is looking at the words in the book again, because anyone who actually read the book would see how problematic this casting is. If anyone wants a further breakdown on this situation, go check Mayoa's World video where she talks about it.